Hey, what's going on? I got a comment that I was going to answer today on one of my videos. And I got a comment from Matthew Warren. He said, I've been debating on whether I should even be doing muscle training while trying to lose fat because it's been making shit more complicated. It's juggling two balls at once with dieting. I've been doing it so I'll be ahead once I'm slimmer, but at the same time, it's easier to lose fat if that's the only thing my diet is doing. Now I can't necessarily just eat less. It's weird. So I agree with you, Matthew. Actually, this is one of those common things. Whenever I'm training someone, this inevitably comes up, is whether or not they should try and gain muscle and lose fat at the same time. And like most things in life, the answer is it depends. Now, I'm going to give you more than an it depends answer because I'm going to tell you what it depends on. But here's the thing. So for most, like 90% of the people that I coach, as far as losing fat, okay, what I tell them is not to focus on trying to gain muscle at the same time. In fact, I don't even really have them lifting weights in the gym for the most part, because if they're significantly overweight, what they need to focus on is leaning down, and that's hard enough by itself. And the thing is, the reason why I do it that way is because, like you said here, Matthew, is that it's hard to do both things at once. And here's really the big crux of it is that it's very, very, very difficult to gain mass, to gain muscle on a restricted diet when you're under maintenance calories, right? So when you're dieting down, it's very difficult. It's not impossible. Body recomposition is possible. With the diet that I do, I am able to do that, but it's very, very difficult, and it's sort of going against the grain. It's swimming upstream. So why make things harder on yourself? And why get negligible gains in muscle when you can gain muscle later? Okay, and here's the other thing. For most people, when they're dieting down, there's some ways to do it that don't necessarily catalyze muscle, but for most people, for the most part, when you're dieting down, you're on calorie restriction, you're going to lose muscle anyway, right? It's not only that you're not going to gain muscle and probably not maintain muscle, but you're probably going to lose some muscle along with the fat. And so the thing is, if you don't already have a lot of muscle, I don't care if you lose a little bit of muscle, right? So let me put it this way. If you don't have very much muscle on your frame, okay, if you haven't been, a power lifter or something, or lifting weights for a long time and have a bunch of muscle, then why do I care about you lose? Like, we can gain that muscle back easily, right? Or we can gain more of that muscle back easily when we put you on a calorie surplus after you've lost the weight, okay? And losing the fat is much more difficult, at least for most people, than gaining muscle. I know some of you are hard gainers and skinny and stuff. I understand there's definitely a challenge there. But for most of you, okay, like getting six-pack abs, getting lean, myself included, is more and more difficult. So let's focus on the difficult part first, and let's get you to the point where you look like you're going to look good. You're going to look better, okay, if we can get you lean down, and then we can start packing on the muscle, all right? And so the thing is, like, and this goes for if you're overweight, okay? So this is why it depends. So I definitely have a few different protocols here, but for majority of people, they're overweight, okay? And so my focus is to get you down to like maybe 12%, 14% body fat for men, okay? Because once you get there, you're gonna be looking good, you're gonna be feeling good. I know we can start putting on some muscle. If you want to get even leaner, we can get you down to 10%, maybe a little below 10, and now we can put on muscle, and you're still going to look good when you're putting on that muscle. We can put you in a calorie surplus, and everything's going to be good, right? If you're trying to gain the muscle at the same time, or even maintain the muscle, you're going to be sacrificing, you're going to be doing extra work. All that lifting you're going to be doing in the gym is not going to be producing the results that you want because you don't have the calories to back it up, or you're going to have to, cut at a much slower pace. I'd rather just let's just lose the fat, let's just get you lean, and then we can go to the work of gaining muscle, which will be much easier. It's so easy to gain muscle once you're lean and we can lift heavy, and right, as opposed to trying to gain muscle while losing fat or trying to maintain it. Now, here's the other, I'm going to give you all kind of the trees here. Now, if someone comes to me and they're like more like a power lifter, okay? and they already have a decent amount of muscle, and they're also, maybe 20% body fat or so, then I'm going to say, okay, well, let's continue your lifting routine. You're already doing a lifting routine, but let's not focus too much on gaining any muscle. Let's try to maintain it. Let's try to just, keep doing your lifting, lift 3 times a week, lift fairly heavy while we're cutting, so that you don't lose that, so that when you get lean down, that we're mostly losing the fat, right? And this is critical. Otherwise, your body will start to break up that muscle. So if they're already got that muscle, then I'm going to do this differently. Then I'm going to say, okay, let's continue to lift, and let's cut down the fat, and you're going to look really good when you get cut up. Think of it as like that'd be almost like contest prep for a bodybuilder, because you already have the bodybuilding physique, and now we're going to cut you down. Okay. Another scenario that I would encounter is someone who's not super fat, but just kind of what we call skinny fat, and they haven't really lifted much in their lives. Okay, so they're they have no real lifting experience, and they want to both get cut down a little bit and gain some muscle. At that point, it's debatable, right? We could just cut them down first, but they're going to look anorexic if we just cut them down. Okay, so that's probably not the best thing. But what we can do there is we can sort of do some real body recomposition. Then in that case, I'm like, okay, let's get you in a lifting protocol. Let's cut calories a little bit too, just a small deficit. And what we're going to do is we're going to use some of that fat, and we're going to use the beginner gains to gain you muscle while we're cutting down the fat. But it's not going to last very long, right? You're going to get some gains, some strength gains, some muscle, but then we're going to have to go one way or the other. Then we're going to have to make a decision and say, okay, what are we going to do? Do you want to get more lean? Do you want to get 6-pack abs? Or do you want to gain more muscle? And usually my answer to them is, let's gain the muscle first. Let's get you kind of big, and then we'll cut you down. As long as you're not super fat, right? If you're below 15%, right, then you're going to look better with more muscle than you are with 6-pack abs, right? You have your shirt on more than you have it off, unless you're me. Then you've got your shirt off more than you've got it on. But regardless, that's another option. So another option too would be someone who's just super skinny, in which case we're not going to try and lose any fat, right? I'm going to try and get you fat, right? I'm going to have you in the gym. I'm going to have you lifting heavy weights. I'm going to tell you to not really do as much cardio. I'm going to have you eat calories. Try to eat clean, but if you have to dirty bulk, you're going to dirty bulk so you can gain the mass, okay? And we're just going to lift heavy, and we're not going to care. We're going to try and get you, maybe you're at like 10% body fat, but you're looking anorexic because you don't have any muscle. Let's get you to 15% body fat and gain you, 20, 30 pounds so we can maximize the muscle gain. And then later we can cut that up. We already know you have a high metabolism. It's not a problem. So those are the kind of scenarios that I run into. The final one would be someone who's already athletic, already looking good, someone that's been training for a while, someone more like me where maybe I'm already at 10% body fat, or if I'm out of shape a little bit, more on the 12% body fat, or maybe I'm at 9 or 8%. I've been lifting for 15, 20 years. And, in that case, right, we just want to we want to keep the muscle for sure, because that was hard work to get that muscle. So we want to keep lifting heavy. We want to keep maybe even gaining a little bit of muscle, but doing a more extreme diet and in cutting down the fat, right? Because that's we've already got a lot to work with, and that's the hardest place to be, because we can't get beginner gains. We can't, there's a lot of things we can't do. So it's just going to be hard, okay, at that point, because once you have the physique, once you've built the muscle, and you're already at a low body fat, there's not a lot of options, right? You don't want to lose the muscle, and at the same time, you can't just go in bulk mode either, because you won't look good. So, maybe at that point, it's like, okay, let's get down to 8% body fat or so, and then we'll do a little bit of a bulk to up to 10 or 11, and you're still going to stay in that good zone, but you're not going to get the benefit, right? Sometimes it's better to be a beginner in that case. So, Matthew, in your case, right, to wrap this all up, right, and hopefully I've given you guys a good summary of how I would look at this as far as training someone. And if you disagree, right, if you're a trainer, let me know. I'm curious. I'm always curious to hear how other people that do some training and coaching do it. But Matthew, what I would say in your case is, I'm looking at your picture there. I don't know if it's recent or not, but you're at least in the 25%, maybe 30% body fat range. I'm just looking at your face picture, but just cut. Don't worry about lifting weights right now. In fact, if you can avoid the cardio for now, do it. Just diet, cut. Okay, do a lot of fasting. All right, just go to OMAD, 1 meal a day if you can. Check out the videos. Actually, I'll give you guys a playlist on my OMAD videos, and I'll give you a playlist on my physical fitness and diet videos. Like, go and check out all that stuff. Okay, but cut calories, do some fasting, do some couple of day fast if you can, and only worry about that when you start to get to the point where that's not working anymore, okay, where you're not losing the fat, because it should come off easy, okay, if you do that just from diet. Then let's start adding some fasted cardio in the morning, running a couple miles every morning or something like that. Okay, and then we can be more extreme. Then we can start cutting carbs if we need to, and stuff like that. And then finally, when you get down to it depends on where you want to be, but 14%, 12%, where you can at least see some outline of abs. Then if you want to start gaining muscle, you can do that, and that's fine. But right now, I think you're fighting a battle that it's going to be harder, right? You're never going to get the point where you're lean where you want to be if you're constantly fighting this battle. You're kind of working against yourself. So just don't worry about the weightlifting. We can get you the muscle later. It's not a problem. You got to attack the thing that's most important. What's gonna improve you aesthetically the most right now? Is it going to be gaining a little bit of muscle, right? Is it going to be losing the fat? In that case, it's probably going to be losing the fat. So focus on that. Don't let anything stop you from hitting that goal. And once you hit that goal, then we can talk about where, at what point do you start saying, okay, now I want to gain some muscle, because at some point you're going to hit this threshold, this crossover, right? And it's going to be different for different people, where, from an aesthetic viewpoint, right? I'm looking at, this is my primary concern, and most of the people that I coach, is they want to look better, right? And so the question is, from an aesthetic viewpoint, where do you fall in the spectrum, right? If you're grossly overweight, if you're at 25, 30% body fat for guys, then the best thing we could do is lose fat, right? Muscle's not going to matter that much. Like, losing fat is going to make you look better than anything else. But then maybe we get down to 14, 12%, and depending on how much muscle you have left at that point, or have in general, now aesthetically, the answer might be to gain muscle. It might not be, though. It might be that you got to get down to 10 or 8% body fat, and then, because you've already got a decent amount of muscle, and then gaining muscle is the thing that's going to make you look better. So it's always the question of what is going to make you look better, right? If we're training for that purpose, and it's going to change over time, but we want to try and keep it going one direction or the other, instead of trying to do both. Only for this super experienced, trained person who's already been lifting and dieting and stuff for a large amount of time, only in that case where they're already very high in the aesthetic physique level, we don't want to lose that, so we're going to have to do something that's suboptimal in order to keep that, right? Even for someone that's super highly trained, right? If they just want to gain muscle, the best thing would be to sacrifice a year of their life and say, I'm going to get somewhat fat, and I'm going to just eat enough calorie surplus, lift heavy to gain muscle, and then cut back down. In fact, that's what bodybuilders do, right? Bodybuilders off season, they're optimizing, right? What they're doing is they're saying, okay, I don't care if I look pudgy for off season. I'm just going to gain as much muscle as I can, and then for that 12-week cutting period, I'm going to cut down. Now they make sure they don't get too damn fucking pudgy. Otherwise, they're not going to be able to do a cut in 12 weeks or 8 weeks or however. Some do 16-week cuts, but that's the overall strategy, right? So hopefully that helps you guys. If it does, let me know. Give a thumbs up. Share this with someone who needs the help, and of course, leave comments if you want me to answer some questions about this. Make sure you click the subscribe button. Make sure you click the bell so you don't miss any videos. I do 2 videos a day, and if you guys want more fitness stuff, you just let me know. I know a lot of you have been asking about when is the training book and video program coming out. I've got an injury right now too, so I'm still trying to get back on the swing of things, but I'm going super strict mode now, and things are going good. So hopefully I'll eventually get this out. I also just I don't want to put stuff out there until I've got it dialed in on this particular thing, right? I want to make sure this is really good. So that's all I got for you today. Again, make sure you click the subscribe button, make sure you click the bell, and check out the playlist. I'll talk to you next time. Take care.